And we are live. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm Marcela from Y&Y Youth, and it's a great pleasure to have you all with us here today. Y&Y Youth is an organization that was founded in 2014 with the goal of supporting young social entrepreneurs all over the world. And today we're doing this amazing webinar with incredible fellows from different countries. We have a psychology student here with us as well, and we have two founders from the US. I want to thank you all so much for being here with us for this call. I'll give the word to Renata. Renata is from Brazil. She's a psychology student and a researcher, and she will be moderating this session. Thank you so much again for being here, and enjoy the session.
All right. And then again, hello, everybody, and welcome to Y&Y Youth Mental Health Webinar. Today we'll be discussing how are social business leaders improving mental health worldwide. As Marcela said, I'm Renata, and I'll be today's moderator. First of all, I'm honored and so thankful to Y&Y Youth for this opportunity and for these amazing participants and guests today. So we will be starting with the introductions. So I guess Maria, is okay if you start?
Yes, perfect. No worries. Well, my name is Maria.
Yeah.
My name is Maria del Pilar Aristizabal. I am from Colombia. I am 26 years old, so I'm super proud to be a young woman and even more proud to be a social entrepreneur in our world today. I work with Life Academy. This is a social enterprise I founded and I am the CEO. And what we are looking for in Life Academy is to contribute to reduce suicide rates among young people. Because in my city, we have one of the highest rates of all over the country, Latin America and the Caribbean. That's why we are focusing on preventing suicide through workshops. So what we do is that we deliver weekly leadership workshops where we work communication, teamwork, resilience with our students. We do this at the age of 12 years old to 18 because we are focusing on preventing, and as the usual age when they suicide is 15, we got this on 12 years old. We got to them and they are super happy to have this as a subject in their high schools. So they take the same relevance as maths or science, and they have Life Academy. So they know that even only once a week, they have this open space to talk about feelings, to talk about emotions, to talk about whatever as humans we are dealing with. And that's something that occurs even if we are 5 years old or 12 or 40. So since high school, they start to understand that they have emotions and that they could manage their emotions in the future and even in these daily days. In teenagers are let's say crazy because it is a challenging part of our lives, but it's for everyone. Being a teenager is not easy. So what we do is we support them to choose life in every situation. That's what we do through Life Academy, and our workshops will be available in our web platform very soon to be delivered for every continent, for every country in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that last part. I'm so inspired by Life Academy. I believe it's an amazing initiative, and as you said, should be in every country, and especially this month, here in Brazil is Yellow September to prevent suicide, and I believe it's amazing. It's the perfect connection so we can talk about it today. Thank you for your contribution. And now, Gabriela, is that okay?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Renata. Can you hear me now?
I think we're having some connection problems. Is it?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
It's not really good.
Not well, Gabriela.
Go ahead, maybe with another connection.
So continue alphabetically. Jeff and Dion.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Dorchester, one of the co-founders of iRelate. We are a peer empowerment platform focused on mental wellness. So we have a chat app that lets people gather and discuss similar struggles and work with their peers in order to talk about things that they're struggling with in an anonymous way. So we know that a lot of people fear the stigma associated with mental wellness and mental health issues. And so we're trying to break that down by letting people begin conversations and begin talking about mental health and mental wellness in a different way, so that they don't have to feel that there's a stigma associated with it. We want people to be open about what's going on and begin those conversations in a safe way. So we have an app that lets people get together and confide in one another and know that they're with people that are like them. And it's very hard for a lot of people to open up when they think somebody else may not understand their struggles. So we know that a community of like-minded people can have a conversation about things and talk about the things that they're going through. So Deanna and I came up with this concept because of struggles we were having, and realized that the world needs a place for people to get together and be able to talk about stuff for once. And Dion, you want to go off from there a little bit?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dion Gonzalez, the other co-founder of iRelate. As Jeff mentioned, our app is a anonymous peer empowerment platform where people that have shared similar life experiences can talk, but in a confidential way. We think that's the barrier in many cases, is people knowing who you are. That's where the stigma really comes in. And as Jeff mentioned, he and I were both struggling with some mental health challenges, and we weren't sharing it with one another. We've been working together since 2010 in different capacities. Also an entrepreneur. I'm an older entrepreneur, but I'm excited to be part of this forum. And I think it's wonderful to see all the youth coming together and being social entrepreneurs to really drive the change that will have an impact for many, many years. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. I've never thought iRelate as you said now, a way for anonymously people talk about their feelings as they have a problem with that. As a psychology student, I believe I was more willing to talk about my feelings and to understand that way. So thank you for that.
I also mention that we're in 54 languages real time as well. So we partnered very tightly with Microsoft. So that's obviously very important so that we can cover, I think it's about 6.8 billion people around the world. So we can cover the entire world.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. That's amazing. I believe it helps a lot of people. I'm sure gonna check it out. Now, Gabi, do you wanna try again? And maybe Patrick later?
Can you hear me now?
Now it's better.
Okay, great. Well, my name is Gabi. I'm from Quito. I live in Ecuador. I'm also 26 years old, and I'm the founder of the Life Experiment, where we challenge individuals to thrive through personal development. So it's a platform, it's an organization where we develop different experiences for people to connect with themselves, especially to make personal development accessible and to understand and to have a guide for a meaningful life in a way that you can use it in your day-to-day, how to make it practical, and understanding that you can actually enjoy your life and love your life, and it doesn't have to be something extraordinary. You can enjoy it in the ordinary things in your day-to-day.
That's amazing. I believe that's one of the steps to a better mental health, you know, to celebrate the little things, to understand, and to really the self-knowledge, you know. So thank you for your social businesses and for your sharing. Patrick, are you on?
Hi. Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Patrick Finn from Ghana. I live in Accra. I am a physician by profession, and I run a social enterprise called Standout Care. What we do essentially is community health. So here in Ghana, there are quite some challenges with accessing healthcare with some groups of people, those in remote communities, prisoners, orphanages, and street children. So I put a team together. It includes physicians, nurses, lab scientists, nutritionists, and sometimes psychologists. We go to these communities and provide the care that they are lacking. We've been doing this since 2016, and we are impressed with what we are doing so far.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. I believe primary care is essential to prevention and to really get health where it needs to be. Here in Brazil, we have United Healthcare, so I understand the importance of your work. Thank you. And now, now we're going to the question section. If you that's watching us have any questions, please send them in YouTube chat. I believe we can go in the same order as we were. So the first question is, how do you see the future of mental health? Maria, what's the future of Life Academy and mental health in Colombia?
Well, if I will say if we start talking about worldwide, before the pandemic, World Health Organization said that mental health will be affected in 30-35% because of the lockdown. And even when there are an economic opening in this moment, at least in my country it is, and I know that in many countries, there were a lot of families that suffered the stress and frustration on their economies. And that stress relays, of course, in their children, in their teenagers. That, plus the fear that appears with any possibility to get infected, make a mix of mental health decrease, especially in countries with an historical weak economy as Latin America. So I will say that during quarantine, we maybe were aware of many things that we were not before. And one of those is our mental health. We were aware because it was affected, and like in health in general, we only appreciate it when we lose it. In this case, stress, anxiety, lack of time to read between meetings or between classes in the case of teenagers, not separation between work or study and home, and a lot of that put a spotlight on issues that probably came way along before pandemic, but pandemic make it conscious. And that's a conversation that we have had with our students, because usually students, young students, we are talking about 12 to 18 years old age students, they won't talk about their mental health. But now when they are in lockdown with their families, they start to being conscious about it. I won't say, I don't bet that everyone now, especially young people, is going to take care of their mental health. But I bet that now they are aware of what is going on in their bodies, in their heads, and at least with Life Academy, what we are doing during all this time is making a spotlight on what are you feeling every day. What are you feeling? Are you comfortable or not? And being able to speak, even if you are not comfortable, even if you are not having a good time with your family, understanding that there is not something wrong, that there is something that you are open to feel and that you can express through a lot of ways, working or studying, painting, dancing. So I will say the future looks like something that they can address in their bodies. Our students are going to address what is going on around them. That's how I see the future of mental health in our students from Life Academy.
Awesome. I believe it's a great help for them just to note when to check it, right? Where it hurts. So thank you for that contribution. Gabi, what's the future of mental health in life experience?
Well, what I see right now, like before the pandemic and before what we're experiencing, well-being wasn't a priority, especially in organizations. So I work also with organizations on how to increase the well-being of their employees. And as Maria said, like with small things like understanding your emotions, how to manage your emotions, how to manage your stress, how to express what you're feeling, and also like juggling between work-life balance. How can you do that now that you're at home with your kids and you're working? So what I do and what I've been doing with organizations is also how can they understand to design a routine that works for them? How can you take care of your physical well-being, like your physical health, but or also your spiritual health, maybe through meditating, maybe through praying, maybe through connecting with nature, like doing small things that can make you feel that you're working on yourself, that you have the tools to heal, to focus on yourself, to improve. So it's like all of these things. It's important your mental health, but also your emotions, also what you're eating, also how you're connecting with the people and your colleagues. So I see it as an opportunity. I do believe this raised a flag for everyone to understand this is a priority, because if you don't focus on your mental health, it's gonna be hard to thrive in your life if you don't even understand what's your mental health, how are you feeling, and how to manage all of these emotions. So I do see it as an opportunity with working with organizations and youth and people to actually value mental health and stop having it as something taboo, that you don't have to say that you're always great, because we are humans and we struggle. So I think it opened this conversation to be more human, more real, and to connect with others.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I really think maybe the priorities might change someday. Maybe that's the goal. Jeff and Dion, care to contribute? I believe I Relate maybe has increased its participants in this pandemic time and maybe in the future.
Definitely. Yeah, I think to see where we're going in the future, I like to look at the past, and I look at my own struggles and what made me come up with this concept to pitch to Dion. And that was really around, I had a physical issue, I had a heart problem, and I came close to death. And I ended up going to a cardiologist that gave me a bunch of pills that made my mind not work right, my body not work right. And so as time went on, I started to develop anxiety and depression and things that I tried to hide from everybody because I didn't want people to know what was going on. You know, I was scared that someone would look at me as weak or as less of a person. And so every day that got worse and worse. And so if we look at that timeline and struggle, I'm sure I'm not the only person going down that path. I'm not alone on that journey, but I felt alone. So it's really important to give people the tools along their own journeys to stop getting worse and worse, to stop that spiral from happening. So one of the things that we want to do at I Relate is give people that tool that says, hey, you know, I'm struggling today, but how can I get through today so that it's not a bad day, so that each day is a positive day? Because we know that if you stack a lot of bad together, it gets really bad. But if you can help somebody in little pieces of positivity along the way, that all adds up to a really good thing. So, you know, I think really the other struggle is there's lots of cultural issues around being able to express oneself, right? And so how can we stop that? How can we make it so that somebody can talk about, hurting their ankle or their knee, and that's okay to talk about, but it's not okay to talk about your mental health? Why is that? It's still the same issue that someone's going through. You know, people work out their bodies, you know, you go for a run, you do these things to help your physical performance, but what are the things you're doing to help your mental performance? And how do you make sure that each day you can do something like that? And so, like we've said before, you know, one of the things we think is just talking through stuff. If something's on your mind and you're hurting, talk to somebody else near you that's going through the same thing and might have a tip for you to say, hey, here's what I've done to get through this, you know, and you're not alone, because that feeling of being alone is really not a fun thing. So I think the future is people coming together and accepting one another a little bit more than they do today.
Yeah, I think that there is a fundamental shift that's occurring right now, and this is part of it, being part of this type of event. And you hear a lot about mental health awareness or suicide prevention awareness. And I think one of the things we're really starting to see, and the pandemic has accelerated this, is the movement from awareness to action. Awareness in and of itself doesn't solve an issue. It does bring to light the issue. It helps us engage in meaningful dialogue about those issues. But the goal should not be the goal, just awareness. The awareness should lead to tangible action, much like what is being done here today, to really get the word out and show these different tools and these different modalities. Our peer connection tool is a much different modality than what Maria or Gabriela has, and what you do, Renata, as well. So, but we all fit very specific places, and there's value behind all of that. Same thing with Patrick, right? So the action is really, I think, where the future is going. Jeff touched on it. In my belief, it's about connection and understanding the power of connection. During COVID, when we're all on quarantine in different parts of the world in different ways, the power of connection has become really important to us as humans. When it's taken away, we find more value in it, right? So when you can't go have dinner and drinks with your friends because you're in quarantine, that does have an impact on your mental health. You're sitting at the house all day. There's additional pressures. I've got 4 kids. I'm doing homeschooling, running a company, you know, I coach competitive soccer as well. There's all these different things that were happening before. And then as an entrepreneur, as we all know, there's a lot of different mental health challenges as well. So I think the future is really in taking what we're learning today, understanding where we're at today, and moving that from awareness to action, but providing the tools and the mechanisms to the world at large, providing those tools to them. I think that's where the power of mental health is, and that's where we need to go in the future.
Absolutely. I'm speechless because the connection and the loss of connection is absolutely real and hurtful. So thank you for that contribution. How about you, Patrick? How's in Ghana and your source of
Yes,
business?
Rena. Yes, so if I could come from the clinical perspective, you would learn that earlier, when we treat a patient or a person, we're concerned with more with the biomedical model, where we treat the individual as having the disease or treating the disease itself. But now we are drawing more to the biopsychosocial model, where we treat the person as a holistic being. A person has an attitude. A person belongs to a family. He's part of a community. He has a thought. And these things impact their health. So you realize that even the health setting or the clinical environment is beginning to recognize mental health as being very important and necessary. And that, for me, makes the future of mental health very promising. The social business industry is doing its part. You find people like Jeff and Dion helping us build communism, connecting people. I mean, with the advent of social media, it is easier to share your problem and have people empathize with you. I mean, people like Maria, giving certain actions that can help people battle their mental health problems. And so the future is a good one. I think that suicide rates, which now is around 50% for people with mental health, can decline with time if all of us continue to work towards the goal.
Yeah, I think that's a very optimistic, and I share that view. So thank you for the contribution also. Now we have some questions of our YouTube viewers. This first one is for Jeff and Dion. Marcelo sent here in the chat. Can you give us some tips on how to partner with organizations like Microsoft? What were they looking for, and what were the key factors in your pitch?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think our relationship with Microsoft came by way of personal and business relationships that Jeff and I have had with colleagues and coworkers for the past 10, 15 years or so. And so what I would say is the power of your network and the power of relationships, really solid relationships, is immense. We were very fortunate and very lucky. When Jeff and I start companies, I've had 3 companies I've sold, and Jeff was with me on our last one. And eventually we'll see what we do with iRelate after we make the impact we need to. But when we do this, and this is what caught the eye, I believe, of Microsoft, is we always start with why. And there's a very famous book out there, start with why. We always do why, how, what. Why are you doing this? Why is this important? Frankly, a couple of years ago, this wasn't top of mind for us until Jeff was open about dealing with his depression, and he knew that we were dealing with some issues because we had a suicide attempt in our house, but we weren't talking about that. So the why became very important to us. And then we start with how, how are you going to do it? And then what is the actual technology? That's what iRelate is. But Microsoft understood what we were doing. And Jeff had really built the initial, what we call our MVP, our minimum viable product, on a Google Firebase product, which wasn't really serving the needs that we had, because we knew this was going to scale very quickly. And one of a friend of ours and a former product manager, and she's still a great product manager at a different organization, her husband's a writer at Microsoft, and said they love what you guys are doing. That really started the dialogue with them, and Microsoft has been a tremendous partner. But I will openly say, and I've said this in a keynote address that Jeff and I were part of at a Microsoft conference, that we were not big fans of Microsoft initially. I've never, in the companies that I've had previously, we've always built, we're bootstrapped type of entrepreneurs, and we've typically used different platforms. So the thing that caught Microsoft's eye is the passion and what we're wanting to do from a pitch standpoint of, it sounds cliche, but making the world a better place. I think those were the fundamental things. And then it was the power of the network and the influential folks in the network to say, wow, this really is cool. So I would start with your why. I think having what I would call a maven, somebody that's really passionate about what you're doing, who has influence. We have a lot of social media influencers out there nowadays. Those are great places to start to help get that buzz, but solve a real problem. Be in the space, which as social entrepreneurs you all are, and we all are, is solve a real problem that we face as humans. Jeff, I don't know if you'd like to add to any of that.
Yeah, I'd say you nailed it for the most part. I'd say the other thing is make sure that whatever it is you're doing has a good purpose and is focused. Don't try to do too many things. If you just say, this is what we're doing and we're going to do it the best, then it's very easy to have someone agree with you and say, yes, I like that, and I'm going to help you. And we were just lucky that Microsoft saw what we were doing and said, wow, they were making a big impact, and we want to be a part of that. We don't want the next guy to pick them up. We want to be here and helping them right now so that they can go do what they need to do. And luckily we're here today, and they've been a wonderful, wonderful asset along the way.
That's amazing. I thought that the best part was you guys focus on the importance of community and helping each other. And the start of your company was a community. It was your connections. So I thought it was really great. And the tips for maybe future social entrepreneurs was there, like the why and the purpose and the passion. So thank you. And finally, also the cliche, I think it's the best. We are hoping for a better future and a better world. So it's everybody's cliche, but it works. We have a couple more questions. Pierre asks, have our panelists seen that there are certain demographics more valuable to mental health challenges than other?
Yes.
Feel free. Yes. Patrick, you didn't answer the last one.
Yes, Reina, there are a lot of category of people who are more prone to mental health challenges. I've read, and I can relate, that most males, especially in Africa, are prone to having mental health challenges because of the stresses of life. People who work in certain fields are more prone to stresses, like health workers like myself in COVID times. It can get stressful. And then, of course, people in marginalized categories like LGBTI, they are more prone, and they are known to commit more suicide because of the discrimination they have to deal with.
Yes, of course. As the marginalized communities here in Brazil, we have the same reality. And I agree with you, absolutely is a risk factor for mental health disease and problems in general. Anyone care to pitch in, also answer this question?
I would just say that here in the United States, you're seeing a lot of systemic racism come to the forefront. And
right.
It shows a lot of the marginalized groups, BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, people of color, who traditionally don't access mental health because you can't, number one, you don't have access to it. Number two, you're not seen as strong or tough or hard if you do access this, mental health. You can't go to your buddy and say, hey, homie, I'm really struggling because I'm a little depressed after watching a movie, or I lost my aunt and uncle. You have to toughen up. And this goes through all types of, all races and cultures. With marginalized and people of color, it's even more difficult. And the rates are higher amongst people of color in terms of depression, suicide as well. So those providing that access, and again, moving from awareness to action are the key components to let everyone know systemic racism is not going to be solved for many, many years. But there are steps that we can take to at least help these marginalized communities get the access that they need and do it in a place that they feel comfortable with. One of the things that we've done with iRelate, although we're not a clinical app, we're peer-to-peer, is we do provide access to about 5,500 clinicians throughout the United States. And half of those are clinicians of color. So that we're doing what we can by way of our partner, True Circle out of New York, to help those marginalized communities talk to somebody that they feel comfortable talking with.
Well, that's an amazing way to help fill this gap, right? The gender, the race gap, also the LGBTQI community. Yeah, that's a lot of letters, but we want everybody to feel included. Now we have another YouTube question. Carla asked, question for all panelists. How can leaders in businesses and society promote better mental health in their circles and of influence? What are some practical ways to engage people?
I will say that the best way is to start with your close one, with your loved ones. So we have in Life Academy a map of 4 steps that you can use every day. It's super easy. I have it posted in my window, and it's that you think about the people in your life, the people you love, who probably can in this moment be struggling with something, and you think about them, then you write down a list. This is something very practical, I swear. You write down a list with their names, then you write down a list with the activities you will aim to do with them, and you make a commitment with yourself to do that with them. It can be virtual sessions, party sessions, it could be a movie, it could be a little call. Is something very little which you can support someone who is struggling day to day. Only one call can just make a huge difference in their lives. And then you put into action. That's our 4 steps. And we are really amazed with the answer we have had in our community. And we encourage you to do that worldwide. It works worldwide because we all are human beings, and our loved ones, if we take care of our loved ones, if every one of us take care of our loved ones, that's it. We can do it. We can do it together.
That's
agree with
inspiring. Yeah.
I agree with Maria, and also like start with yourself. I think that's the greatest thing. Like really focus on yourself first. Like really, how are you feeling? What are you dealing with? What can you do to like the same action steps, but what can you do today to make yourself feel better? Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's talking to someone, and then it's easier to take care of the people around you, because we as social entrepreneurs, we want to change the world and our communities and society, but sometimes we forget about the people that are close to us, our parents, brothers, family, friends, and then like it starts growing. So like at least for myself, when I started in the life experiment, I started also like having this idea of, okay, I want to change the world, but what about my parents? What about the people that are closest to me, that I really like hang around with them every day? Like, what can I do to make them also like have access to this well-being? Because I don't focus on like fixing mental health. I focus more on like, okay, you're healthy, how can we improve that? How can like we even like you can be even happier and greater and really design the life you love? So I do think is like start with yourself first, so that you understand, you internalize it, and then you just reflect that also on people around you.
And something I'd like to add to that is start the conversations. I found that when I didn't tell anybody what's going on in my head, no one knew what was going on. As soon as I let somebody know what I was dealing with, I learned that the other person has a problem too. And inevitably, everyone you talk to is either suffering with something themselves, or they have a friend or family member or someone close, a coworker, that is impacted. And that really means that everyone in the world has some sort of reach and touch to a mental health or mental wellness problem, right? We're all in this together. And so if you start to talk about it, we can normalize this conversation. It doesn't have to be a hush hush thing. We can actually begin to do this together and say, hey, you know, we're not getting away from this problem, but we can work on it, and we can do things together by working together and being open about things. So start talking.
Great. So, Rena, I noticed, and we can all agree that the fundamental solution to mental health is simply talking and listening. What I do practically is that I decide to call 2 of my friends every day. I've got like 2,000 phone numbers. So I tell myself that whenever I'm on break every day, I call 2 people randomly and talk to them. You never know what word of inspiration you could share with someone that would change their life. And I think that all of us who are in positions of influence, who have friends who look up to us, if they hear from you a day and share their problems with you, you never know, you could change their day.
Go ahead, Jan, if you want to share.
I was just going to say, I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
I think the pieces made by the panelists are great. I don't have a lot to add to that concept.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really touched right now. I'm like tearing up a little because I thought it was powerful tips, like make a list of activities. I'm all about achievable dreams. So as Maria said, it doesn't have to be very big. Once I struggled with depression, and getting out of bed was very hard. So these little things make life more valuable. So that was amazing. Starting conversations with people, as Jeff said, start a conversation. I begin anywhere to talk about it, and just get in touch, as Patrick said, with people every day. I thought that was amazing. And lastly, as Gabi said, start with yourself and those around you who you love. I thought that was amazing tips and advices. We have the questions that we prepared. No more questions for now from YouTube. So talking about specifically your businesses, what challenges do each of you face when it comes to daily basis?
Money.
I will say that it is a good question. I think it's open our vulnerability, and that's something amazing to share. So when I started my business, I did not define limits in my daily work. That made me have days of work like 17 hours or more, but I did not question myself, and I did not even notice, because I love what I do and I am deeply passionate about it. But as I didn't set limits, my body and my mind set the limits for me. So this is how I got to my first crisis, in which all my energy suddenly disappeared. I did not understand why or how. I just woke up every day without any feeling, without smiling, without being able to communicate what I was feeling, which is extremely weird for me, because I am usually super talkative, high energetic, and I am able to name my feelings. But I couldn't do that for 8 days. I started to worry after day 5, when I asked for support from my friends, and I decided to stop working for a few days until I could resolve it. And I discovered that I felt empty, because I was giving so hard and so much time without a break, talking about suicide 24/7 every day, that unconsciously it drained all my energy. And today I am thankful about that week, because currently I understand that in order to still loving what I do and can serve to all the young people I'm willing to, I actually have to set limits to my daily work. It was my challenge.
Unfortunately, our time is coming to an end. But as a comment to what you said, I believe burnout syndrome is something really hard to understand. Maybe that's happened to you. It's that the feeling that you burn out, that you don't have any more to give. I don't have a number about it, but I'm sure social entrepreneurs have a lot of problem with this disease. So for everyone watching, and especially you guys here, don't hesitate to find a professional, to talk with each other, and always get help. And now, how about a little round of final pitches to young people watching? Maria, feel free to.
Yes. Okay. Well, young people, you are amazing. You are the largest population in the world. We are. And we have the power to transform our generation, the future generation, and all of the dynamics that we don't like how it works currently. We have to take the power and we have to believe that we can. That's only what it takes. You're confident with self-esteem and you taking care of yourself first, always. If you need help, please talk. Please say whenever you need to and ask for professionals. But you can, and you are claimed and you are called to change the world because we all have a superpower. Just found it, believe in that, and do it.
Really inspiring, so powerful and energetic.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that's it. Gabi, do you have a final saying?
I love it, Maria. Yeah, like really, you are not alone. If you're listening here, we've all struggled. We have family members that have struggled, friends. So you are not alone. Just reach out because you do deserve to live the life you aspire. You deserve to reach your dreams. You deserve to do whatever you want and have all that potential in the life you really, really desire. But just trust in yourself and reach out. Just reach out to anyone. Even and if you are listening and you're feeling great, look around and see maybe who is not, so you can also reach out to those people.
Perfect. Jeff, Dion?
I'd say follow your passions and your dreams. You can do amazing things if you do that. And you also don't get as tired with work if you do that, because it's something that you're enjoying every day. I say that every day I'm at work and what I do, I like it. I don't dread sitting down. I don't dread going to do what I need to do. I feel good about it. And I know that I'm changing lives. And I know that everyone can do the same thing. You just have to say that to yourself that you can do it. And like Gabriela said, look around at the people if you're doing well, because some other people hurt. And we like to say in our app that people are there for two things: to help and to heal. And often, if you talk to somebody about the issues they're facing, it can also help you understand things about yourself a little bit more. So just be kind to one another, be open and honest, and take care of everybody.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, I guess a couple of things. So not the only thing, but it's okay to not be okay. You're normal if you're not feeling 100% every day. And as social entrepreneurs, I believe that we tend to take on the world's problems in an empathic way, which then you feel that. So much like Maria said, you have to take care of yourself first. That's a hard line to draw sometimes. But there's also a very key component to the way that I think young entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, all entrepreneurs need to work. And that's managing your energy versus your time. There's going to be times when you have high output, you're firing on all cylinders, things are working really well, and you're super energetic. There are also going to be those times where just sending that simple email, which would take you 2 minutes, you're struggling for words. You don't know the right value proposition. You're not sure what to say. Take a step back. That means your energy is not there. So it's okay to not be okay. Manage your energy, not your time so much. And that will help you focus on yourself to take care of what's most important. And then that gives you the ability to make the impact that you want to with your social entrepreneurial venture.
Patrick?
Oh, I guess this means I have the final say. So what I would say is that you are the most important person in this world. And even though we are bent on changing the world, we have big dreams and big visions and want to go for the goal, it is important to take a step back every time, commit time and energy and resources to yourself, because you matter. Do not kill for the job. Do not kill for the relationship. Do not kill for anything. But once in a while, stop and see how you can put your life in a better position so that you can stay and enjoy the life that you are building for yourself, because you matter.
Perfect. I can't thank you all enough, and Unison Youth also. It's been a great pleasure, and I learned a lot with all of you, so thank you very much. I think, yes, Marcela's here. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This was beautiful. My heart is warm. And I know this will help a lot of people who are watching. You all gave amazing tips, and it just got me, I could connect to everything that you said. And I want to thank all the speakers and Renata, our moderator, for this amazing session. I want to tell all of you that are watching us that the Unison Youth community is here to support you in every way that we can. What I can say is that we won't stop talking about this, and we will continue this conversation. So always remember to speak up, remember to take care of your loved ones. And if you want to see other conversations like this, there's other webinars in our YouTube channel. And if you want more tips and resources on how to deal with mental health, you can always download the PDF that our fellows have prepared for you. And I just want to thank you all again so much for being here. This went by so fast. And if you have any additional questions for our speakers or for our team, you can email us at contact@unisonyouth.com. We'll be happy to share the questions with the speakers and connect you to them. Thank you all so much. Have an amazing rest of your day, your week. Stay safe and speak up. Thank you so much, everyone.